here's what it comes down to. I gotta say this. Wise people, when it comes to health, learn from the mistakes of others. Meaning that you've got this beautiful 9-year-old daughter dealing with severe medical problems, which are based on this whole idea of inflammation. I'm seeing all this stuff in your house that is not doing anything to improve her health. And the reason I need to get on you is because it all starts with you. I mean, a 9-year-old is not going to be doing the shopping. A 9-year-old is not going to be cooking the meals. And a 9-year-old is not going to be making the decisions. That's on you. And you have to just get over this idea of making excuses. And you have to commit.
We did, like I told you, we had a nutritionist that came in. We had a nutritionist that came in when we were doing our show. And really all that nutritionist did was literally hand us bunches of paper and said, here's what you're gonna do for the week. And so like for the nutritionist to say, hey, here's a piece of paper, this is what you need to do, and not showing us was kind of like.
Okay, so you had a bad experience with the nutritionist. We can change that here today. If you commit, you're on a big show right now, a national platform, and if you commit, we're gonna make sure you have the resources. Part of what we do on the show, mind you, and I'll tell you, I didn't know about healthy eating 10, 15 years ago. We all have to learn at some point. This could be your moment. And I want there to be further motivation. Dr. Danica Schulte is a pediatric immunologist. Now, you did not only look at Alana for just overall potential medical problems, but also looked at what she's taking for her asthma.
Right.
And it's all, this whole idea of inflammation of the body, feeding itself is very true, right?
Right, absolutely. And when we talked about her asthma is so out of control. It's not even funny. She's on oral steroid bursts at least once a month. She's on 2 different inhaled steroids. She has the 2 rescue and she has the 2 inhaled steroids that they're juggling. So you start with her asthma out of control. She's not going to be the kid that's out running, a mile at school. So then she goes outside to play. It triggers her asthma. You add the weather in Georgia, which Mom said is a huge, just a big trigger. So between the weather and her activity level, it's a vicious cycle. So then she just gets heavier, and it's harder to go outside, and then it's harder to control her asthma. And there are great studies about not putting her on a diet, but reducing her weight, giving her healthy choices, and that's going to impact her asthma much more than you're trying to juggle these inhalers, but I think we need to do a much better job at her asthma management.
So we got 2 things, Dr. Schulte, that we need to do, and I know that you're gonna help with the one, which is helping get her asthma under control.
Right.
Getting to a place where she doesn't need to be on these oral steroid bursts every month, which we know is not only not good for your health, but long-term can actually add to problems with weight.
Right.
So we can do a better job of that, right?
Absolutely.
And then you mentioned the other part, which is important, which is this vicious cycle of inflammation, eating foods that do not decrease inflammation but increase it, making asthma attacks worse. Asthma attacks are worse, and then it's just, like you said, a vicious cycle. So even though she doesn't live where you live, I know kind of try to make sure that we can get Alana's asthma under control. And I know you're confident in that, right?
Absolutely. And what was even better, we did her breathing test in the office. Her lungs look perfect when she's not having an attack, which is fantastic. So she hasn't affected her lungs, her total lung volume yet.
So there's no long-term issues
right
here.
Right now, we need to jump on. This is the time.
So right now, here she is. Great exam yesterday. Inflammation is at a low point in her lungs.
She did have high cholesterol on her blood test. We did review them.
It's taking its toll.
And that's why I want to get back to the food. Because that's something that we can control at home.